Why, hi, this is Jim Cranston from 7 Every Minute and 7everyminute.com, a podcast and website by, for, and about baby boomers. Well, we're here in the middle of the holiday season of 2021. Christmas is just a few days away. Hanukkah, which came early this year, ended a little bit while ago. So it kind of seemed like a good time to think about all the gifts that we have in our lives, even when we think we don't really have many. We do, I think, both tangible and spiritual or emotional, depending how you want to look at it. And remember that part of our being here, at least to me, on Earth, is to help others and make the world a little nicer place. And I would like to apologize. Major technical issue just as I started this this broadcast a little while ago. And so, amongst other things, I think I lost about 1,200 open tabs I had on my browser. So, I guess the lesson is don't have so many tabs open in your browser. So, let's get started for this evening. Of course, don't forget, last week we talked about giving ourselves an assignment, kind of some homework in preparation for the new year, writing down your number one goal for the coming year. And I hope you did some work on that. I have, and we'll share that next week. And then related to that is, besides the one big goal that we have, we want to start thinking about the three goals you want to get done in the first quarter of 2022. And so, what do you want to have done by April 1st of 2022? As we said, hopefully those smaller goals, we talked about this last week, we said that hopefully those smaller goals will help you reach the really number one goal for the year. So we're going to go over that a lot more next week. But that's all I really wanted to say about those things this week. And so what about Christmas and all the holidays that appear at the end of the year? Of course, Christmas for me has always been a really interesting kind of evolutionary sort of holiday process because remember as a child, probably, if you're like me at all, you thought a lot about what you were going to get. And Christmas is kind of all about you. It's kind of, I'm going to ask Santa for this and hopefully I get that. And other people I had, not a huge, but a large sort of family. And so there were other people around me opening gifts and things like that. But I wasn't really paying much attention to that when I was real small. It's kind of like, oh boy, what did I get? What does Santa bring for me? And then as you start to get older, and you get close to your teenage years or in your teenage years, then you start to think more about what do you want to get for other people. But there's some funny things happen about that because then you start thinking about money, and you can try asking your parents, or that maybe you have some savings that you've been saving up, but your focus has kind of started to change a little bit. You're still interested probably in what you're getting for yourself, but now it becomes a little bigger sort of event, and you become more aware of all the people around you. Then probably by my late teen years, maybe my early 20s, for me, it was just all about giving gifts. I love to give gifts, not just at Christmas, but all throughout the year. I just find it a lot of fun because for me, gifts are kind of the ultimate way to have fun because you get to think about the person that you're giving the gift for. So you start off and you get to envision them and you get to think what it is that they might enjoy. And then you get, how will this actually what mechanism will this be to make them smile? Is something they like to eat, something they didn't expect, something they'll find funny. So a lot of different things about that. And then you get to actually go and shop with them. So again, you get to think about them even more. You get to think about the whole situation. And then finally you get to give it to them. And hopefully they're all excited and pleased. And then there's the bonus because afterwards you get to remember the whole process. And maybe they bring it up and say, oh, remember when you got me, whatever. So for me, gifts are just kind of like the ultimate activity because you get so much joy out of, just a single thing. You can spend, if somebody like me, you can spend a long time doing it. You can spend days thinking about things, looking for things, actually going out and looking at them in the store and then wrapping them and giving them. So for me, gifts are a real hoot. I love gift giving. And so Christmas to me is like the ultimate holiday for kind of self-fulfilling joy. You get to give things away, but it makes me happy. So that's kind of fun. But then as I got even older after that, got in my 30s and 40s, and obviously now we're older than that, I started to realize that gifts can also be intangible items, things like friendship, support, just anything that brings joy into someone else's lives. Even better, when you look at it from that standpoint, then you no longer have to wait for Christmas to get all these great feelings that can come from giving gifts because you can give them at any point. But that kind of brings us back around to the original topic, which is remembering that part of our reason, at least for me, for being at all, I think, is just to make the world a nicer place for all of us. And that can happen both in small and large ways. It doesn't have to be huge things. It doesn't have to mean you buy somebody a house. It can be something as simple as saying, oh, thank you when somebody does something for you, or whatever. Just anything to make the world a little better after you pass through. So, what better time to do that than in the holiday season at the end of the year and in the season of Christmas and New Year's? So, while everyone else is bombarding you with ads and and all these messages trying to get you to spend money on physical goods that you can then give away, and people kind of forget what it's all about in a couple of weeks, imagine how satisfying it would be to give away something for free, and not just something for free, but something that gives somebody else joy and peace, or even better, that will last them more than just the Christmas season. That can a piece of advice or a piece of comfort that sticks with them for days or months or years. And so, even something like a smile or a compliment, it costs nothing, but it can totally change how another person feels inside or how their day is going. And it can bring joy to them when they thought that nobody really cared about them. And I was actually just talking to somebody else about this, and we were talking specifically how he was talking in terms, as a good friend of mine, in terms of how somebody said something to them in school. And I actually hadn't heard from this fellow in a while. He's an old good friend, and they just out of the blue said something to him, and it literally changed his entire life. This was when he was in, it was actually grade school, I think. No, it might have been high school, early high school. And there's just a little comment about his abilities, and in particular, no, actually, no, it was in grade schools, in early grade school, how he had the power within himself, and we talk a lot about this, remember, to make it through any situation because he knew the answer inside himself, that he shouldn't lose confidence. He was having trouble in school, and this teacher said, just what to do. You have the answer inside you. Just slow down, calm down, and have faith that you know the right thing to do. And it was just a little comment. Who knows what prompted them to make it? But he was telling me it actually changed his life. He became a very successful lawyer, an attorney, and a judge. And he said much of that happened because of this very simple offhanded comment. What better gift to give to somebody than to give them a more fulfilling life? So it's something to keep in mind. So to me, that is the real spirit of Christmas, the ability to give something that just keeps on giving. It doesn't have to be a physical good, doesn't have to be expensive. It's something that brings value to the other person's life. It's remembering that we all have gifts that can be shared with everyone. And whether it's just a smile or listening to someone, it's just a small gift at all. That it just helps somebody realize that they're part of a group and that they're not alone, and that someone else was interested in them. So what does this have to do with our goal setting theme that we've been talking about? And it turns out it has a lot to do with it, because goals are the things that we perceive will have value to us or bring value to our lives in some way. And as I found out as I got older, that basically more and more the biggest benefit I can have in my own life is knowing that I have in some way helped someone else get more benefit out of their lives or improve their lives. And, it turns out it's really simple, but it's kind of an all-encompassing guide informing all the other goals of my life. And so I'd suggest you might want to look at it in those terms, because when one of your goals becomes helping others, suddenly many decisions become simple. One of the first tests you can do with any goal is, does this help everyone? Nothing says that you can't do well from whatever your goal is. But if you do well at the expense of somebody else, for me at least, then that's really not a particularly effective goal. If I can do well and help others do well, then that's a really good goal and a really effective goal. And this isn't, what's the phrase I hear? Doing good while to do good while doing good, or something along those lines. I can't remember right off the top of my head. This isn't rationalizing why you can take advantage of a situation or anything of that nature. This is saying that anything that you do, hopefully, can benefit more than just yourself. That if you, trying to think of another good example right off the top of my head, that if you're going to the store, you have to go to the store to pick something up. Turn to the person next to you who's working at the desk next to it and say, hey, you need anything from the store? A very small thing, but now you've taken a simple action that benefited you, and you can benefit more people. That's really the crux of it. So, like I said, note this doesn't mean you have to give up on anything. Just only have to become more aware how you accomplish your goals, and that you can spread the joy to others and the benefit to others, which finally comes all the way back around to Christmas and the holiday season. Hopefully, now you can see that one of the biggest gifts we all have, and the gift of Christmas is that you give things to other people. Yes, and so one of the biggest gifts that we have is the ability to make others a little bit happier just by how we treat them. That others can do the same for us, and there's a lot of reciprocity that can happen. So if somebody says something nice to you and you feel better about it, say something nice to somebody else. If somebody says something, kind of snarky to you, just drop it. Drop it on the floor, let it go. As they say, bless them, send them on their way. And so it doesn't mean you have to get even on something. It doesn't mean you have to be the first in line or anything else. It means that you have to do what you need to do to reach your goals and hopefully help others reach theirs at the same time. So now, instead of looking at Christmas just being this one long, tedious, shopping trip, it magically turns into this opportunity where you can experience and share joy within your own circle of friends and also with everyone else in the world. And so what better gift exists than the ability to make the world a nicer place? I don't think there is one than that. So I want to wish everyone a delightful and joyous Christmas and a wonderful holiday season in every way. So that's it for the week. And thank you very much for stopping by. If you found something interesting or useful, please pass it along. If not, then please drop me a line and tell me what you'd like to hear about. Have a great week. Thanks for visiting. And remember to live the life that you dreamed of, because that's the path to true contentment. Love and encouragement to everyone. And see you next week on 7 Every Minute and 7everyminute.com. Thank you.